is a piece I wrote, and it's called Listen. Dr. King once spoke about our bird-like flight, fishes in the sea swimming free, the beautiful world, glorious, colorful coral reef. We all possess the potential for such great insight into the mysteries of this life. And yet we have not come to learn, despite historical wounds and sutures ripped open wide, to walk together as brothers and sisters of one earth, at least for me, it's time to shine a light. There came a day when I sat back and saw and asked myself, what creates the separation between us and each other? How did we get here? How did we get so far from loving one another? And why did it take me all this time to come to this realization of hate, greed contaminating the nation? And not just the beautiful country that I call home, but of all the miles and greens and seas beyond me, everywhere, there are those that feel they stand alone. And how did we get to a place where we exclude so many, discounting members of the human race? The world is yet always changing and nothing stays the same. And yet, hateful ideas continue to cultivate injustice and pain. It's pumping and pushing through my veins. Shake off the hate, wash and blot and conceal scars. I refuse to believe that we have gone too far. There's always time to change the way we see ourselves, to challenge the world, not to speak up, but to listen. Consider this a new edition, a chance to begin again a newborn infant. Let's first consider this position. In a society controlled by those who own, it's time to embrace our freedoms, to challenge the system of the capitalist circle in which our only choices are to either buy in or struggle, suffer, desperate to survive. Let's not raise our voices. First observe a new approach to life. It's time to embrace the silence. Hear out Mother Earth as she speaks through the leaves. Of panicked creatures, infected land, and poisoned seas, I refuse to accept that this was ever meant to be. Because inside each one of us, we wage a victory. All along, we've been looking outside for something happy, when if we just close our eyes, we could truly see. And we'd be exposed to the mysteries within. It's where we have to start if we're ever going to win. Let's take a moment to take a moment. Ask ourselves the questions of the present. If we take time to foment compassion, our actions transform a bright luminescence. The waves, they will never stop crashing. But we are all able to appreciate the positives. The white foam, the cold, wet sand that is left behind. For us to build upon, mold, and shape a castle from the natural, it's the beautiful power of the mind that allows us to slow down, tone it down, and open up our ears. Listen to the polar bears as the glaciers disappear. Listen to the preacher who says the end is near. Listen to the leaders who all they know is fear. Listen to the possibility that we may not know what is best. Listen to the desperate father who resorted to committing theft if we automatically assume that the immigrant is so much less than our guest, or that it's the teen's fault when they say they're depressed, or that loving someone of a different race, gender, sex, or social class is just too much to digest, or that it's all right to exploit people we believe to stand below us because we have a profit to invest. What do we have left? I invite you to be still. I invite you to listen. Take your finger off the trigger. There's no answer in ammunition. What if we had taken a moment to lent an ear to terrorism and why violence, to some, has become heroism? Every September 11th, Americans remember and we cry, but did we ever really take a moment to stop and first listen after asking them why? Our tears turned to rage in the construction of a war in which our own country believed, and our leaders, they swore that the reasoning behind killing, was weapon reduction, peace production. And we were the ones fighting with weapons of mass destruction, hate and greed, attempts to justify violence with policy. Wait. Now how does this back our ideology of treating others in correlation with the golden rule? It looks more like silver, bronze, black, and blue. The bloodshed ends here if we can open up our ears to the ones who never got a chance to explain, To the suicide bomber who has never given a chance to complain, to the ones who we are so quick to blame, to the millions who never see a piece of the surplus, the masses trying to live off minimum wage, the young aspiring scholar who considers that it may be time to quit because some days it seems it's just too much to save. And that debt just adds on to the crippling weight of the hungry growls in our stomachs and the bleak, intoxicated outlook to which so many, too many, can relate. We cannot accept death as the fate of the human race, but rather as a complement to the values of life. Try saying those words to my face. What's it worth when we all know how time flies? Don't let it pass you by. The willingness to start, to listen, to open up our hearts. It starts inside of you, and you, and you. We all have the same fundamental qualities, and together we can all see that love and compassion are so much more than commodities. Listen. Listen with me. Do you hear it? Listen closely.